The Ravens oftentimes like to run on first down, which can offer second and short attempts that can open up the play action fake of their game, and it also relieves pressure off receivers Anquan Bolden and Torrey Smith. I think another key factor is their offensive line. Their veteran line has allowed only 4 sacks this postseason, the fewest in the NFL. I think another key factor is their special teams, and I think if this game comes down to 49ers versus Ravens in special teams, the Ravens have this in the bag because their kick returner and punt returner, Jacoby Jones, is averaging over 30 yards per kick return and 9 yards per punt return, leading the NFL in both categories.
Yeah, and also you were talking about special teams. I know we'll get to the 49ers later, but as far as kickers, their kicker, David Akers, hasn't been very consistent.
Yeah.
And 49ers are the Baltimore Ravens are getting good production.
This is almost the last thing you'd expect from Akers. He's a veteran kicker. He's been in the NFL for at least 10 years. He's the last kicker you'd expect to all of a sudden play terribly for an entire season. He's one of the most reliable kickers in the NFL and one of the best you can choose.
Also, I'd like to add, you were talking about the offense and stuff, about their offensive line. If they can get Joe Flacco time, in order for the Ravens, I think, to win this game, he's gonna have to get time, and he's gonna find Torrey Smith and Anquan Bolden deep. They might have to win it with the big plays. You never know.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely a low-scoring game is possible and probably likely. So any big play on special teams, as Alex mentioned, or with a long pass could be very important as the game plays out.
Yeah.
And momentum changer as well.
Mm-hmm. And now you can, obviously you think one of the X factors is going to be Ray Lewis to the Baltimore Ravens.
I think Ray Lewis is having the postseason of his life, especially since he's set to retire after this season. He is leading the NFL with 44 tackles just this postseason, coming off a injured tricep, torn tricep actually.
Yeah, that's
very
a tough injury.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
It's, and according to a new report by Sports Illustrated, Ray Lewis was accused of using a performance-enhancing drug known as deer antler spray, which is a compound made out of antlers of deer. It's banned by the NFL because it contains IGF-1, which stands for insulin-like growth factor 1. IGF-1 is converted by the liver into an artificially enhanced muscle regeneration substance.
Right, so Ray Lewis might have took this to help speed his recovery because he announced that this was going to be his last season. So obviously he doesn't want to be on the bench as his team is going through the playoffs. So nothing's been proven yet, but to me it makes sense that he might have wanted to take something.
Yeah, I see that point, but I also would like to mention Ray Lewis has never failed a drug test, and I think he will overcome this adversity and these speculations very well, like he did in the 2001 season after he was convicted with obstruction of justice and he was accused of murder. He had 114 tackles that season and a career high of 115 interception yards. And a more recent example would be the game after the Ray Lewis retirement billboard, which was put up by the Patriots fans. He led the team with 14 tackles and was a key factor in shutting out the Patriots in the second half.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, after the Ravens won the Super Bowl, after the 2000 season, Ray Lewis was actually initially charged with murder following a party after the Super Bowl. The charges were, eventually dropped, and as you said, he got 1 year probation for, what was it?
Obstruction of justice.
And so, they've really never uncovered what actually happened, but to be accused of something of that nature, obviously, and come back to have a great season, there's no doubt that Ray Lewis is going to put this deer antler stuff, whether or not, because I think in the end there's going to be no way to prove that they don't test for it. This guy from SWATs is not a reliable source.
Yeah, SWATs being sports with alternative solutions to steroids. Yep.
Yeah, and there's also controversy regarding college football players, like players from Alabama and Auburn using this stuff. So maybe that'll be an issue down the road.
Golfer Vijay Sine just admitted to taking it unknowingly that it was banned by the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So there's no question regarding Lewis's that Lewis has off-the-field issues, but on the field we know he can be a big factor. He's one of only 4 players in the last 35 years to win a Super Bowl MVP while being a defensive player. The only other players to do that were Richard Dent in 1985, Dexter Jackson in 2003, and Randy White in 1978. So this is a year where we could see Lewis or somebody on San Francisco do that.
Yeah, and obviously San Francisco has a good offense with their quarterback. You can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback for San Francisco, is currently the starter. There's been a bit of a quarterback controversy in San Francisco after Smith got hurt. Kaepernick played a few games. When Smith came back healthy, Kaepernick was a starter chosen by Coach Jim Harbaugh. So, and he's proved Harbaugh right with a good season so far, second half of the season and playoffs. So,
right. I mean, it's your classic like Alex Smith. Alex Smith is having a great season, or not great. He's having a good enough season to be their quarterback. He goes down with a concussion, and when all Kaepernick needed was that one chance, and he took it and ran with it. Just like
literally ran with it, being a running quarterback.
Just like think about Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe, with the Patriots. So we'll have to see from Alex Smith's point of view if he wants to stay with the 49ers if they're not necessarily giving him a chance.
While we're with the 49ers topic, Randy Moss, one of the 49ers receivers, one of the best receivers of all time, but really hasn't played a huge role this season. He's been more of a third down receiver, had only one touchdown catch I can remember. And on Super Bowl Media Day this week, he declared himself the greatest wide receiver of all time. This sort of isn't a Super Bowl-related controversy, but Jerry Rice has widely considered to be the best receiver of all time, has told him to look at the numbers, where Rice has clear superiority. Rice has 600 more catches for about 40 more touchdowns in his career.
Right.
And this is just a case of a football player with a bit twisted mind.
He was also ranked #1 player of all time by the NFL. So I mean,
yeah.
I think Randy Moss would just drop his claims here. And
I mean, he's a lot of talk. They're not playing him too much, but
exactly.
He said something ironic during media day. He was like, all the players, we have to put our egos aside and just play the game. And it's like, what, Randy Moss? But you talked about Kaepernick being a running quarterback. He has the record with 181 yards rushing in a playoff game against Green Bay. So what is he and the 49ers going to have to do to overcome the Ravens' strong defense?
One of the key points of the 49ers, I think, is going to be line play in the trenches, because if they can get an offensive line, they can allow Kaepernick some time to make some decisions. I mean, just like anybody, it's going to take some time to adjust to the Super Bowl and the big stage. Over a third of America watches this game at some point. So it's going to take him some time to adjust. And if the Lions can give him some time, it'll make his transition easier to the big stage, and I think they can really play effective. They can get some good running out of Frank Gore, Kaepernick, and good line play.
Right. I mean, like you said, the Ravens have Ray Rice. 49ers have Frank Gore, 2 incredible running backs.
I think the Ravens defense, though, will do an excellent job of stopping the double threat with Kaepernick running quarterback, because the last time the Ravens played the 49ers, the Ravens had 9 sacks, and that's just ugly.
Exactly, but this game was a season or 2 ago, and things have changed.
You got Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs, your inside linebackers. I mean, and they're gonna make it a point of theirs to not let Kaepernick run, and I'd be afraid to get hit by Ray Lewis or Terrell Suggs.
But you got to put fear aside. This is a Super Bowl.
Right, but I mean, they're big hitters, and like you said, these teams played 2 years ago. Baltimore beat San Francisco 16-6 on Thanksgiving night, and that was the first time that the Harbaugh brothers have met. And so it's kind of just been fun talking about the Harbaugh and
other creative name puns on the Harbaugh Bowl. You can do plenty of things with the brothers.
Something cool I saw was Archie Manning. He was talking about how he was talking to the parents of the Harbaughs and explaining to them how he dealt with it when Eli and Peyton played, because the parents can't pick a side. One brother's gonna win, one brother's gonna lose. So it's got to be tough, but they got to be proud of their sons.
Yep. And I was saying before about the excellent line play the 49ers have, and the X factor in this game could just be left tackle for the 49ers, Joe Staley, number 74. He's really an underrated player in this league and one of the premier left tackles. He really could be, if he can really hold off Lewis and anybody else charging from the left side, like Suggs, there can really be a running lane for Kaepernick.
Yeah. And also, I think the San Francisco 49ers, their defense, I believe, is underrated. Just going by statistics alone, they're second in points allowed and third in yards allowed. Because they have strong linebackers. So the question will be if they can allow like short runs or deep passes to the Ravens.
Well, I think when you look at stats, they don't tell the full story.
Exactly.
I think when you look at the Smith brothers on the 49ers.
Jason and Alden Smith,
Yep,
both
Jason
defenders.
and Alden Smith. They're very complementary to each other, but you're
exactly.
also looking at this Ravens O-line that have allowed 4 sacks in the whole postseason.
In 3 games?
That's unheard of.
That's great.
That's really good.
Yeah.
They're a very veteran group with seasoned experience. They've changed up a lot of sets, but it seems like they've really found a front that really works for their offensive style.
Yeah, the key player on the Ravens line is right tackle Marshall Yanda, so he could be an X factor in this game as well.
Is Michael Orr still on there?
He is. He's their left tackle.
Blindside guy.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
So another topic always considered with the Super Bowl is the commercials. So you always got to talk about the commercials in the same sentence as the Super Bowl. A large percentage of the people that tune into the Super Bowl are people just to watch the commercials.
Right.
So this year, the big story regarding the commercials is that there are more 1-minute commercials in a ratio to 30-second commercials as more than there ever has been. So the increase in 1-minute commercials has people annoyed because longer commercials, more boring. There's less chance to have funny commercials like Snickers ones, Doritos ones we've seen in the past, Coke.
And what did you say the number was for how much it costs to get one of those ads off?
I think it was about $3.8 million for a 30-second ad.
That's ridiculous.
Also the highest it's ever been, but that seems to be a new record for that every season. The marketing reach you can have by advertising during the Super Bowl is just limitless.
So Las Vegas has given the 49ers 3.5-point favorites in the Super Bowl. So, now as far as predictions go, Alex, what do you think?
My prediction is 14-17 Ravens, with both being a very defensive-orientated game, but I think that the 49ers special teams will fail them once it comes time for the late game field goals, and the 49ers will be pressured to either go for it on fourth and short, instead of making a field goal that is questionable with David Akers.
Right, and you guys might remember last year the 49ers, looks like they had the Giants in the bag, some fumbled punts. Their special teams has been letting them down lately.
All right, so Scott, your prediction for the big game.
All right, I'm going to have to agree with Alex. I think the Ravens are going to win this game, going against what Las Vegas thinks, because I think in the end the Ravens, I think that they're going to win it on a big play to their either Torrey Smith or Anquan Bolden, and like Alex said, special teams. Just when we know the game's going to be between 3, 6, 7 points, and if you're missing field goals or having to go for it on 4th down because you're afraid of your kicker, that's not good. So I think the Ravens are going to win. All right, so that's what I think. What do you think about it, Kevin?
I think San Francisco is going to win this game over Baltimore. I think they have the play to win it, especially in the trenches and with the skill players. I think the score is going to be, let's go with a Chris Berman style prediction, 16-12 San Francisco. He's famous for always picking random numbers in non-football scores. So
are you thinking like 4 field goals?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just whatever.
That's pretty iffy. That's pretty iffy
two
for them.
touchdowns with 2-point conversion for 16.
It's got 16-12.
Boomer.
There's the score.
All right.
One more thing to bring up, the halftime show, another often watched part of the Super Bowl, aka the 10 minutes in which some famous star of old gets to perform. So this year it's Beyonce. Thoughts, guys?
Not too old.
Yeah,
It's better than
Paul McCartney.
It's better than Bruce Springsteen and the Who are long past their prime of the past. So, thoughts?
To be honest, doesn't really matter to me. You know, you watch it. It's usually not as good as you think it's gonna be.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I mean, me being a fan of the hip hop, I think if she included Jay-Z, which
That'd be cool.
which is probable because they're married, I think she could make something cool out of it and impress the city of New Orleans.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah, you get Jay-Z in there. That's actually cool.
We'll make sure to hire Alex for the Bill and Scott Sports Show as our hip hop advice guy, because it's not my forte. All right, guys, anything else you want to add?
I think that's all. But you know, no matter what happens, it's definitely going to be an exciting game. The Hard Bowl. You know.
Enjoy the game. Enjoy your wings.
Yeah.
From everyone here at the Bill and Scott Sports Show, including Alex, Scott, and me. Good night.
See you guys next week.